All right, good morning. Let's just do a quick sound check here. I see some names: Byron, Dan, Donna, DWH, Keith, Marcelo, Matt, Michael, Steve. Who else we got in here? Zach. Zach Brown Band is on here. Woo! Man, I'm big time. Look at that. Good to see you guys here this morning. I know there's some other people jumping on here. I can't keep up with how it's popping in here right now. But guys, do me a favor, head to the chat box. Just look for the chat box. I'll type a message that says hi. There we go. Oops, it should go to everybody. So if you have a message, it should say there's a drop down, all panelists and attendees, just like that. There we go. Hopefully you guys can find that. Let me know in the box that you found that, please. And all right, Steve, thank you. Steve's got it. Marcelo's got it. Awesome, everybody. Well, it's good to see you this morning. Good to be here. Good to hang out with you a little bit. I want to make sure we are recording, and we're ready to rock and roll, my friends. So I'm excited about this topic here today. It's a topic that is actually near and dear to my heart. So let me go ahead and find the share screen button. All right, I gotta minimize that. I gotta open this, and hopefully it doesn't screw up my chat thing. There we go. Good. All right. All right, my friends. Well, let's dig in. First, I want to kick off here and thank Harvey for putting this thing on. And last week talked about marketing your business. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about virtual sales. Next week, we're digging into content marketing a little more. And so make sure you guys give a shout out to the Harvey peeps that you're connected with. Guys, I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate so many people being here and taking some time today to jump on here and get a little bit better, because that's what this is about. We're here to get better. And those that don't know, my name is Tom Reber. I run the Contractor Fight. We also have a thing, part of that, one of our programs that's called the Contractor Sales Academy. We got several hundred contractors from all different walks, all different business sizes. We got guys that are just starting out all the way up to, 20, 30, $40 million companies that have worked with us. And the stuff we're doing, we try to make it real relevant. We try to make it real. Try to make it something that you can implement. And my goal here today is to just open your eyes a little bit to a different way of selling your services. And as always, I always want you guys to walk away with at least one thing that you can implement today to kick some serious butt in your business immediately. So some of the things I'm going to share with you today, are actually designed to help you make money on the very next phone call you get from a prospect, okay? So before we totally dig in here, give me a gauge of how your week is going. I know it's only Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, right? Scale of 1 to 10, but you can't use 7. I got that from Tim Ferriss. 7's a safe number. We pick it because we don't want to offend and we don't want to say things are too good. So use the chat box. Tell me how your week is going. Scale of 1 to 10, cannot use 7. Let's see what you guys got. Anyone? Nothing? Probably a delay. There's always a delay. There we go. Got a bunch of 8s rolling in. Good to see that. All right, 8 6s. I got a 10. JR, you must have sold something big this week or something, man. Either that or you had a baby or got married or whatever. Anyway, 10s are goods, 9s, awesome, guys. Appreciate that. All right, so we're going to talk about how to sell virtually and pull ahead of your competitors, because that's exactly what we need to do. Sales is oxygen. Nothing else in the world of business matters if you don't have a sale. None of the production happens. You don't have an HR department. Okay, you don't have a bookkeeper. You don't need any of those people. All right. as amazing as they are, we do not need any other department in a company unless we're selling our stuff, okay? Because sales is oxygen. And I personally have a mantra that any day in my business that the cash register does not ring is an absolutely terrible, horrific day. That's the language I use. It is a horrific day if our cash register is not ringing. I just want to picture yourself as a little hot dog stand or an ice cream store in town. Imagine a whole day that nobody comes in, throws down a couple bucks and buys some ice cream or some coffee, and the cash register never rings. Pretty shitty day. Same with the home improvement industry. If you have a day that you are not inking, signing a contract with a client, and not collecting a deposit check, then that is an absolute terrible day in business. I understand there are sales cycles and things take time and all this other crap, but bottom line, guys, is, you know, the companies that typically do the best are the ones that sell every day, okay? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that here today and how I believe you can pull ahead of your competitors right now, because a lot of challenges going on. Some of you guys might not be able to, for very good reasons, you know, you're not doing the typical sales process. You're not getting FaceTime with people. You're not shaking hands out on job sites with prospects. You're having to figure out this virtual thing. And quite honestly, it's the sexy flavor of the month right now. Every coach, consultant, company, you go on LinkedIn and all these other things, and all you're seeing is another webinar on virtual sales, okay? Before we get into that, I want to remind us of what the typical contractor sales process looks like. Okay. Your phone rings and you schedule something and you run out there. Then you tap dance. We call that the tap dance. You're telling them how amazing you are. We have all this experience. You know, hey, Steve, JR, Lauren, we got a lot of experience. We're really good. Our people are good. We know what we're doing. We clean up after ourselves. And, you know, we got this training and we've been in business this long and we use this certain material and blah, blah, blah. Guys, we're just tap dancing. And then in many cases, now we're chasing the customer, chasing the prospect. Okay. Type in the box how many follow-up calls you make in a month. Let's just start with that. Because to me, you know, I come from the painting industry background. I used to have, you know, 80 to 100 leads a month coming in. In our company, we're doing hundreds of jobs a year. And it was just my follow-up list was crazy. Okay. Just the time that it would take to sit down, and you all know the groveling we do. Hey, I'm just sending an email to follow up and see what's going on. Or you pick up the phone and they're not answering the phone, and now they're in witness protection because you told them how much it was going to cost. Now you can't find them again, right? So guys, this is the typical contractor. You know, we've worked with hundreds of companies in the sales, training their sales process. And this is what we see over and over is basically this. Okay. Phone rings. We send out a salesperson or we run out there ourselves, try to make the case for how amazing we are. And we end up chasing them. And, you know, you sell a certain amount of them tell you no, at least they're that respectful. And then a certain amount just blow you off. Anyone relate to that? Probably. Okay. So this new sales process that we have right now is, hey, we're going to send somebody a Zoom link or a FaceTime. I got to worry about camera angles. I got to worry about lighting. Okay. Problem here is virtual sales, if you're not careful, ends up being your same lame ass presentation that you'd been doing in person. Now you've just brought it online. Now you just brought it onto a Zoom call and added the annoyances of technology and lighting and sound and all that other crap that is annoying the prospect. It's annoying the sales team. It throws everybody out of whack. Okay. And then we bring our old habits. Okay. Because I didn't even get into that yet. But the typical salesperson goes out and just runs their damn mouth, tells people how amazing they are. Okay. And it ends up being puke TV. Now you're on Zoom and you're just throwing up on people, telling them how amazing you are. Okay. And guys, that is not sales. And so this virtual sales thing, if you can tell, I have a little chip on my shoulder, a little edge in my voice with this, because this is all of a sudden the accepted flavor of the month. And it annoys me because for over 6 years, or just about 6 years now, my team and I have been teaching virtual sales in our sales academy. We've been telling contractors and training contractors for 6 years to stop running out to meet with people in person. Okay. And we'll get into how we do that here in a minute. But guys, this is, this is a screenshot of one of my buddies, Dan Sherwood. Dan Sherwood, he's a painting contractor in Massachusetts. Guys, this is his process. This has been his process for 6 years since he's been in our program. Send us a photo, and then we're going to get on the phone, and we're going to have a conversation, and then we're going to decide if it makes sense for us to go on a second date. That's really the process in a nutshell right there. What's interesting is, in fact, let me just poll you guys. If I were to stop right now and just say, hey, get people to send you pictures, get on the phone, have a consultation. What are all the things that come to your mind right now that that's not a good idea for you as a home improvement salesperson? Use the chat box, please. I'll take a sip of coffee. What warning flags go up? What makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up? What's wrong with this process? If I were to just tell you, as a contractor, it's harder to close, says Marcelo. Okay, what else? And that's actually, in the question box, Vin says harder to build trust, but it can be done. Yep, I would agree. All right, so a lot of guys, here's the funniest thing about this virtual sales thing. Pretty much about 95% of the pushback over the last 6 years about a virtual sales process comes from contractors. Okay, prospects, customers, human beings that are buying the services absolutely love the process. Because here's the deal, you don't want to get in your truck or send a salesperson out and spend your time, your valuable time, meeting with the wrong prospect any more than that prospect wants to meet with the wrong contractor. And okay, yeah, so Anthony says they might feel like you're not as interested if you don't physically show up. Yeah, and here's why, Anthony. Okay, they've been trained. Okay, if I could go back in the Wayback Machine, what show was that from? The Wayback Machine. There was some TV show growing up. I'm 50. I don't know how old that show was. All right, guys, if I go back in the Wayback Machine and find the first schmuck who put free estimates on the side of his truck, I'd smack the crap out of his face right now, because that has set a precedence for the home improvement industry that we're just everyone's little puppet. Hey, just leave the bid in the mailbox. Hey, come on out and tap dance for me with 18 other frickin' contractors. All right. And then we'll choose which one we feel is worthy to come do the project at our house for the price that we dictate, not you. Anyone relate to that? Can you feel my blood burning with this topic right now, you guys? All right. Because now let me back up. The number one mission of my company, the Contractor Fight, is to bring respect and dignity back to the trades. Yet we have trained the public to disrespect us. We've trained people to think that we're less than because we didn't go to college or whatever it might be. Okay, we have trained people to treat us the way that they treat us as contractors, meaning come out, spend 3, 4, 5, 7 hours with me and on my project and up late at night, typing a damn bid up or whatever it might be. And in return for that, Mr. Contractor Guy, I'm just going to blow your ass off because you're a piece of shit. Because that's what we've allowed them to do. So when Anthony says they might feel that you're not as interested, it's because we have made our own bed here, guys. Okay? We've made our bed and have not taken control of the sales process as a home improvement contractor. All right, so I promise I'll calm down and teach you guys some things here in a minute. But I got to set the stage here. Okay, got to set the stage. Number one, this ain't new. And my team and I have been doing this for a long time. We've had custom home builders sell $800,000 homes on the telephone with people. after a couple conversations over the course of, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. We've had guys, remodelers and exterior contractors. This is that. One guy, Mike, making soup with his daughter in the kitchen, selling a simple, small little $4,000 job over a picture. Okay. Derek sold a landscaping project in 12 minutes for $117,000 on the phone with somebody who he didn't know. I could go on and on, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of contractors. All right. And the things I'm going to give you today here, I want to put this out front right now. I'm going to refer to some of these stories. Guys, this is not a pitch fest. This is not me at the end going, hey, join my sales academy. Because it's a couple things I'm going to give you here today. If you just implement, you'll make more money. All right. And that's always my goal, is even if you never joined a program of ours, didn't give a crap, never heard from me again, you could walk away from here implementing some things that'll make you a lot of money. All right. Plus, we got a bunch of free stuff out there. If you go to the Contractor Sales Academy podcast and Contractor Fight podcast and Contractor Fight TV on YouTube, it's all there. All right. So I just want to set the stage with that. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. There's no big pitch coming. A lot of times people do these things and there's a pitch. You all know it's coming. Well, there ain't one coming here. So guys, I want to give you some perspective. We have polled hundreds of contractors over the years. The average home improvement guy or girl spends about 4 hours of their life on every lead. Okay. Now, some of you might be way less, some of you might be way more, but what we found across all industries, when we average it, it's right around that 4-hour mark. So that means phone rings, you schedule the estimate or the consultation, whatever you guys call it, hop in your truck, you go there for the meeting, you got your little song and dance, your little presentation. If you're like me, way back in the day, I was a window salesman for a while. I had my display window and we had our little story and the thing that we had to do, you know, and everybody knows that the moment of truth is coming where you're going to talk about money. And then they're going to give you some bullshit thing like they need to think about it. And yeah, that sounds really good, Tom. You guys are amazing. We really feel good about this. Let me talk to my spouse. And you leave there going, man, I got that one. Man, I got that. I'm fired up. And then what do? You go home, you tell your spouse, baby, I got the best job. We're going to be able to eat. We're going to be able to go on that vacation. You go tell your crew, man, I got some really good projects in the hopper, man. Anyone relate to that? Everyone ever say shit like that? Right? You get all fired up because you have this amazing meeting with people. And then what happens? They ghost your ass. Because they didn't have the balls to tell you to your face that they didn't like you. They didn't like your price. They think you're an idiot. They like the other company better, whatever. See, we've allowed the consumer to dictate the rules of the game. Now, please understand, I am not like, you know, violently angry towards the consumer. Okay? Guys, the contractor fight starts between our ears, and it's us. We're the ones that have made this bed. All right? And we've just trained them how to expect contractors to work because, you know, I mean, I can't begin to think of all the times through the past years, you know, many years ago when I, you know, was doing hundreds of paint jobs a year, how many times people would go, oh, just swing by the house, nobody's there, and walk around and leave the bid in the mailbox. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, boy, I really hope that I can be worthy enough to be chosen to stain your fence or to build this thing for you or blah, blah, blah. And we've always taken this posture that we're not in the driver's seat. So when you take the average contractor's time spent on an estimate, okay, you go out there, you meet with them, do your song and dance, tell them how great you are. You may or may not give them a price on the spot. If you don't give them a price on the spot, you got to do the old, I'm doing air quotes now, go home and work it up, right? Got to go work it up. And then if working it up is anything like it used to be with me, be 11:30, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be sitting there late at night while my family's asleep. And I'd be just about to hit the send quote button, okay, on my email. And it would be, you know, $18,200. And I would go, oh my God, that's 18 grand. I really want to get it to where it doesn't say an 18. I'd rather it say a 17 so it doesn't look so expensive. And we got all this bullshit head trash and we're negotiating against ourselves at 11:30 at night. and we hit send, and then they ghost us. We never hear from them again. Okay? And then we spend some time making follow-up calls, and we put it on our list and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so guys, if you have 100 leads coming in, and I'm checking my math. I just pulled out my calculator here on the fly. If I got 100 leads in any given period of time, and some of you guys, I know you get that a month, times 4 hours. That's 400 hours. And you divide that by a 40-hour work week, that is 10 weeks of the year that you spend in this stupid process where you're not in control, okay, for whatever your close rate is. Now, some of you guys are going, well, my close rate in person is amazing. Guys, mine was amazing in person. But you know what? There's still that percentage of people at 4 hours or whatever it is for you, a crack, that you're spending time with that you should never be spending time with. And that's really what is the heart of this virtual sales, this process that we actually call the SHIN-FU. It's named after one of my business partners, Steve Shinholzer. All right, Steve, and we started this company together about 6 years ago. Make long story short, Steve in his first year saved like 17 weeks of his time, and he made a lot more money, okay, by not going out to meet people. Now, you will go out. Let me say this. You will go out to meet people. But it's not the first thing that you should do. And in fact, you should not go out unless you're invited and unless you're the one setting the rules. All right. So this was really born out of the frustration that, my God, I feel like I have all this windshield time. I'm just driving around. Okay. We have a couple metrics that we track. One is my effective sales rate. For every hour I spend in the sales process, how much money am I bringing in? All right. And a lot of times, I did a poll in the group the other day. We got guys that for every hour they're spending, they're selling 10 grand, 12 grand, 8 grand. All right. They'll spend 4 hours a week in the sales process if they're a smaller company. And they'll sell $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of work. Okay. With just 4 hours and several leads coming in. This phone process that we're going to talk about, that I'm going to outline here for you guys, on average takes about 20 minutes. All right. If you do it right. So it's also important to know that proposals don't pay the bills. We are not in the proposal writing business. I am in the check cashing. I'm in the deposit check cashing business, and you should be too. Okay. I'm all for consumers who want to think about it. I'm all for people that want to compare. I'm all for people doing their due diligence. But guess what? If you want me, if you want our salespeople, if you want us on site, if you want us jumping through hoops and typing things up and revising things, then you're going to stroke a check in the form of a consultation fee at some point. Okay. But guys, every year in the spring, it's funny. You hear contractors go, hey, how's it going? They're like, it's great. I got 83 estimates out there. And I hear that and I'm like, man, you're fucked. Pardon my French. Because that means you ran around 83 times, didn't set the terms of the engagement. Okay. Now you got 80 something, 70 something, whatever follow-up calls to make. All right. And now you got a bigger to-do list. When in reality, out of the 83 estimates that you have out there, you probably only needed to really physically go see about 15 to 20 of them if you pre-qual right on the telephone. All right. So my ask here today, guys, keep an open mind. All right. As we dig into this. Got a red phone and you got a green phone. This picture of me on my deck. Live out here in Colorado. The red phone, imagine this, guys. Imagine if when a lead called you, okay? When a lead called you and you had two phones, and if they were going to buy from you, the green phone would light up. And if they weren't going to buy from you, the red phone would light up. Would any of you guys buy that telephone set? Would you buy two phones that did that? If you think about that for a second, how cool would that be? All right. Well, we believe the telephone. Yeah, I'd buy 6 of them too, Sean. We believe that the telephone is a weapon of mass sales. Okay. A weapon of mass earnings. That's what we believe the telephone is. So all this virtual bandwagon stuff that's going on with Zoom and this and that, guys, for 6 years, we've had a few people do FaceTime. We've had a few people do, Zoom calls here and there, but 90% of the people in every industry, home remodelers, deck builders, painters, landscapers, guys, you can name it, electricians, plumbers, home builders. I think I already said home builders, right? Carpet people, hardwood guys. They're simply using a telephone and they're having an open and honest conversation with people. It's that simple. And by the time they get off the phone, they know if it's a red phone or a green phone. All right. And so I want to give you guys, just keep in mind that your telephone is the greatest weapon of mass earnings, mass sales that you have in your arsenal. It is not your experience, although that's important. It is not the quality of your work, although that is important. Okay. Your telephone is the first line of defense in making sure that you don't waste a bunch of time with some unicorns. Okay. And those are what we call people that will never buy from us. All right. So SHIN-FU. Here it is, okay? You know, my partners and I, our coaches, we've all had all the sales trainings through the years. We've all been in this industry a long time, you know, taking everything under the sun. And we're like, you know, the biggest problem I find with sales training and all this other stuff, they're all too corporate. They're all too based on these long sales cycles for selling, you know, insurance or softwares and stuff. Most of them don't address the immediate needs of your average home improvement contractor. Now, let me say this. If you're the type of company that employs a, you know, bunch of salespeople, you just, you know, and I'm thinking of a painter here in town where I live. Their business model is they write as many estimates as they can. They pay their salespeople 100% commission, and they don't give a crap if their salespeople waste windshield time and drive out there because they're just paying them commission and blah, blah, blah. All right. They just spend a ton of money in marketing. They have bags of money to throw at it. They do direct mail out the butt. They got 2-3 salespeople in the town. They're all running 20 to 40 leads a week, year round. And for them, it's just a numbers game. Guys, that's a business model. And I get that. And I might not agree with it. I might not like it. It's not how I roll. It's just not, doesn't sit well with me and my values. Okay. But if that's your thing, great. Okay. I'll respect that. But this can also help that. Even if you're a 100% commission salesperson, guys, you don't want to waste your time driving around, meeting with people who will never be your customer. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. But guys, everything starts with the motive. People buy for one of two reasons: pain or pleasure. It's that simple. All right. Out of these 5 steps, at some point when you get good at this stuff, you can move these steps around a little bit, but the motive has always got to be the first thing out of the gate. And more than scripts, more than here's our process, check these boxes in this order, the most important thing here is setting the tone of the conversation with the right spirit. It's a thing that in our world we call the spirit of the conversation. If what happens is a lot of guys, they hear us talk, they hear this thing that I'm giving you here today, and they go, yeah, I'm going to start standing up for myself. I'm not meeting with people unless it's on my terms. And even though the conviction is good and the heart and the spirit that they have is good, then they get on the phone when the next lead calls them, and they're like, hey, listen, you bonehead customer, I ain't coming out to your place. We're going to do things my way. Guys, that's the wrong spirit, okay? You can still have that conviction, still have that commitment to protecting your time, okay, and making sure that you're earning more money and things like that. But you have to have the right spirit. And I want to encourage you guys, I don't have a slide for this because to me, this is not even a step. This is a right out of the gate. Our telephone rings with a lead. We have got to come at it from a spirit of gratitude. And how you open your mouth the first time on this call. And now, whether you're answering the phone yourself and calling your leads back, whether you have an answering, you know, somebody in your office who answers the phone, okay, and they know this process and they can, you know, set you up for success. There's so many different ways, but the bottom line is you got to start with gratitude. And it might sound like this. My phone would ring. Somebody says, yeah, I want to have a deck built. And I'm going to go, you know, hey, Joe, before we get in and talk about your deck, would it be okay if I just asked you a couple questions? Yeah, what's up? Well, first off, I'm just curious how you found us, because you know, we do a lot as a business to market, and I just want to know what works. And honestly, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to pick the phone up and call us, because I know you probably have 100 other choices if you hop on Google or Facebook or whatever it is. So wherever this goes today, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time, for just, you know, giving us a little bit of consideration. Guys, that spirit sets the tone. Okay. The other thing here, the reason I ask people how you found us is often it'll be a referral or it'll be we found you online. And then I'm going to ask a question along the lines of, hey, you mentioned that Bob referred you to us. What did Bob have to say about us? What was it that Bob said that made you want to pick up the phone and call us? Oh, you did really good quality work. You were easy to work with, blah, 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 blah. Now I have social proof. I have third-party proof, or it could be a Google reviews, right? Hey, you got a lot of good Google reviews, or hey, Harvey gave us your name and said that you guys were really cool to work with. You're the company to hire. Now that you have that social proof, now I'm going to move you into step one. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to say, well, would it be okay if I shared with you why Harvey says a lot of nice things and sends us a lot of customers like this? And of course they're going to say yes. And you're going to say, well, listen, it's, you know, we have this process that we follow, and it's a little unorthodox. You know, it's a little different than most contractors. And the cool thing is when we follow our process 100% of the time, people like Harvey or Joe or the Google reviews or whatever, they say a lot of nice things about us because everything goes the way it's supposed to go. Would it be okay if I shared with you what our process looks like? See, now their guard is down. Now you're moving them into this new way of thinking about this estimating process with contractors. It's not just, yeah, let me drop everything that I'm doing and come out and meet you and tap dance and play your game. Now it's about, I've got this social proof, guys. I'm the expert. I'm taking control. This is how we work with people. And if you notice a couple times there, you'll hear a lot of this thing today. Asking permission. Hey, Bob, would it be okay if I shared a process with you that gets us so many reviews on Google? Yeah, what's that? Well, listen, it all starts with you sending us a picture. Or we can FaceTime or whatever, but, you know, and if you can't do that, let's go ahead and give me your address. I'll pull it up on Zillow and I'll take a look at your house a little bit. We can have an open and honest conversation about what's really important to you, which now we're getting motive. And now we're going to dig in to why this project is important to them. Okay. Again, we all have our reasons for buying. Oops, there we go. My computer froze for a minute. All right, Michael says the audio's going up. You got me now. All right, is Tom back? Am I back? Yes, no, hopefully. Somebody, JR, you got me. Donna, you got me. All right, guys, I don't know what happened there. I was just running my mouth, doing my thing like I do 3 times a day like this, and my computer just said, I don't like what you're saying, Tom, and I'm going to shut down or something like that. So I apologize for that, everybody. I'm pulling up our thing here again. Not sure what the last thing you heard was because I know we said a lot. We were talking about a lot. We talked about the weapons of mass earnings, which is your telephone, right? And how we need to make sure that we are, protecting our time and all that good stuff. All right. So let me just pick back up. I think I got into the motive here with you guys, and let me share my screen again. Seriously, no idea how that happened. So, talked about that. We talked about the motive, right? And the motive, guys, is about digging into the why. Why do they want to do something? I talked a little bit, maybe when I got gargled there with the audio and stuff, you guys talked a lot about the spirit of the conversation is key to this process, that you have to set this up with gratitude. You have to learn how to ask permission. You have to learn how to share social proof. Okay. And I'm not going to repeat myself because I already went through all of that and I don't know where I lost you guys. Okay. So I apologize for that. But if you're just hopping on the phone going, hey, send me pictures, this is the way we're doing things from now on, all right, then you have the wrong spirit of the conversation. So guys, I want to make it very clear that sales is not something that you're born with or you're not born with. It is a skill that could be taught, it could be learned, it could be developed. And I personally believe if you are a professional business person, if you are a professional salesperson, you should be in sales training of some sort 24 or 365 days a year. There should be some. It's no different than the golfer who's on the PGA Tour. Chances are the guys that are on the tour, they go to the driving range every day and they practice, they work on their swing, they work on their game. And all right, so hopefully that makes sense. But guys, so I'm going to go through these 5 steps. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on all of them, just a couple of them, because I want you to walk away with some things that will help you here today. All right, so hopefully you guys still hear me. We're still recording. All right, and all that. So guys, the why, right? It's the motive. Why in the world do you want to do this project? Okay. What's at the heart of this thing? Okay. They got some fears, right? They don't know who to choose as a contractor. They're scratching their head. And, they might want to buy and flip a house there. They might be having a big party that's coming up that they got to get ready for. Maybe, this time of year, there's graduation parties, hopefully at some point. There's weddings that are going on and receptions that people are going to put at their house. You got the, whatever, maybe your mother-in-law, that really nice woman in the upper right-hand corner there is going to move into your house. Okay. And you got to put an addition on, or you got to renovate or do whatever. Maybe you're moving. Okay. Bottom line here, guys, is we have to understand why people want to do a project. And this is the step. Okay. Now, first thing I said before, you got to have the right spirit of the conversation. All right. But this step of the motive is honestly where most salespeople blow through it. They make assumptions. They think they know what's important to people. And because of that, they don't ask good open-ended questions. They don't slow the process down. And most importantly, they don't shut their damn mouths. They talk too much because they're trying to impress people. All right. When this is the time, depending on what sales training you've had in the past, you'll hear everything from they should talk 70%, you talk 30%, 80, 20. I think it's like 90, 10. 10% of the time I run my mouth. And when I run my mouth, it's an open-ended question. It's taking something deeper that we've already talked about. And so I don't have time to give you all of these. There's some scripts that I'll give you access to later on, but the script is no good if the spirit is not there, if the confidence is not there, if the practice is not there. But one of my favorite all-time questions to truly get to the motive of what is important to a prospect is simply this. And I'll tell you a couple different stories, okay? Or at least one. One time, I'm on with a prospect, and I said to her, and what she had told me was that they wanted to, it'd just been a long time, they wanted to freshen up the house, and you know, it was when I was painting houses. They wanted to freshen up the house, and they just wanted to get it updated and not be embarrassed when people came over. Okay. And so it would have been very easy for me to pounce all over that. Oh, we can help you get really nice colors, and we can help you this, and we're this, and we'll send our interior designer or our color consultant over, and blah, 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 and we'll help you with this, that, and the other thing. Okay. That's what we do. When somebody gives us an opening as a salesperson, we usually pounce all over that shit. Okay. And that's premature pouncing. All right. Don't pounce prematurely. Don't ever pounce. So instead of pouncing with all that, I said to her, I said, hey, Jenny, I think I understand what's most important to you here. Would it be okay if I shared it with you? She said, yeah. I said, you're embarrassed that you can't have your friends over because you feel your house is outdated and you want to get the colors up to speed here. There were some timing things. You shared with me before that, you know, one of the things you hated about contractors in the past was they would promise a date and they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't deliver on what they said. Am I right so far? And she said, yeah. And so guys, here's the question that took it to the next level. I said, so let's pretend at some point you're going to hire somebody. It sounds like you're going to do the job. You're going to hire somebody. You're talking to a few different companies. And you're standing at the kitchen island and you're writing the final check to the company. And they are, they're going to get in their van. They're going to drive away when the job is done. What would need to happen in order for you to feel that that was the best experience you've ever had with a contractor? And then I shut my mouth. What did she say? She didn't say price. She didn't say don't leave a mess. She didn't say finish the job on time. She didn't say anything about all the things she already told me. What she said to me was simply, it'll be the best experience I've ever had with any company if you guys don't wake my twins up, because my twins are newborns. I only sleep about an hour and a half a night because of my twins, and they nap between 2 and 3:30 every day like clockwork. And so this will be the best experience I've ever had if nobody wakes my twins up. Guys, that was the motive on who she was selecting as a contractor. And so what did I do? Did I pounce? No, I didn't pounce. I didn't go, oh, well, we won't wake up your kids and we'll be really quiet. We're really awesome and blah, blah, blah. No, I just simply said, hey, Jenny, if would it be okay if I shared with you an idea I have right now? She said, sure. I said, what if we started later, kicked our start time back a couple hours? Normally we start at 7, we start 8:30 or 9. We'll take our lunch between 2 and 3:30, hour and a half lunch for the guys, and we'll actually go off site. We'll go down the street there. You know, I know there's a park in your neighborhood, and we'll get out of your hair for a couple hours. So there's no chance of waking your twins up. I said, what would happen if I told you we could do all that? And she says, you do all that, the job's yours. Long story short, we sold the job. Another time, motive for the guy had nothing to do with anything other than don't add a to-do list to my wife's life. Last time we hired a contractor, my wife cleaned up after him for a week. I was out of town. This is what he's telling me. Every time I would call her at night, she'd yell at me about the damn contractor I hired to do her house. Okay? But guys, you don't get to the true motive, the true heart of what people need unless you truly slow this process down and ask people open-ended questions, okay? And for me, the golden question is one I just gave you a minute ago, that whatever variation of it for you works, okay, is how are you going to know this was a great experience? How are you going to know that you hired the right company? And then shut your mouth and don't pounce. Guys, when you dig into the motive here, when you hang out in the motive, it sets up every other step of this process, because once you're clear on the motive, then we want to get into step 2, which is what we call the money, okay? And so you'll see here the words, would it be okay? I will tell you right now that when you understand some of these things, you will get their budget 100% of the time before you ever leave your house, your office, and go out there and spend any minute of your time behind the windshield. In fact, we have kind of a rule in our sales academy that you don't go meet with somebody unless they already know what it's going to cost, okay? And unless they've already committed to write you a deposit check, or a consultation fee. Okay. Otherwise, they're not worthy of your time. Okay. Now, back to the motive. Another great question to ask people is simply, hey, what phase of the decision-making process are you in right now? Where are you at with this? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean? Well, you guys just, are you in the idea gathering step here? Or are you guys, ready to write somebody a deposit check and get this on the schedule? Where are you guys at with this? Guys, oftentimes we spend so much time with people that aren't ready to buy right now. They're just gathering information. Again, it comes back to the motive. So once I'm clear on the motive, okay, then I'm going to transition to the money. And it might sound like this. I'm going to recap, okay? I'm always going to recap what they said to me in the motive. And I'm going to say something along the lines of, hey, Bob, I'm pretty sure I got what's important to you here. You talked about this, and this. Did I get it right? He's going to say, yeah, you got it right. Because why? Because you're a great listener. Okay, the best salespeople are the best listeners. Then I'm going to say, well, listen, I have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for here, and what it might cost. Would it be okay if we talked about money right now? And a lot of times people are taken aback, not in a bad way, but they're like, you can actually do that? How can you do that? You don't have to come out here and look at it. Well, Bob, we've been doing this a really, really long time. We do hundreds of jobs a year, thousands of jobs a year, whatever it is. And I'm absolutely going to need to come out there, and I'm going to have to, finalize some numbers and things like that. But I can 100% give you kind of a range of what this might cost, just here on the phone to see if it makes sense, to take that next step. And guys, I'm telling you, you have the right spirit, you have the gratitude and all that other stuff that we're talking about. They love it because they don't want to meet with you if they don't have to. So I'm going to say, would it be okay? Again, I'm asking permission. And it might sound something like this. I'll give you a couple word tracks. I'm going to give you the second one first. Based on what you're telling me, we could come in and, guys, now here's where a technique called bracketing that we teach, okay? I'm going to paint two pictures. I'm going to paint one that might sound like this. Let's say we're talking about a backyard, big ass landscape and outdoor kitchen and stuff like that. So Bob, listen, based on what you're telling me, we can come out there and we can design and build you something that's going to be on the cover of all the landscape design magazines. I'm talking crazy water feature, fire pits, phenomenal kitchen, all the highest end stuff. We can do this. I paint this picture, guys, of something that we could do. And, we're looking at, I don't know, 150, 200,000 bucks for something like that. That's one option. Or on the other side here, Bob, we can just come out, build you a simple hardscape patio around 400 or 500 square feet, put in a nice, brick oven thing. You mentioned you want to have some pizza. I'm going to paint another picture, and that might be, I don't know, $50,000 to $60,000. Okay, so I'm painting two pictures, and if you notice, I gave two numbers at each level. I gave a range at the top and a range at the bottom, and there's a reason for that we don't have time to get into today. Then I'm just going to say, which conversation does it make sense to have right now? What conversation does it make the most sense to have? Which one of those should we talk about, right? However you want to ask it. Guys, 100% of the time, they're going to tell you their budget, because it's going to be, well, I'd love to have that mind-blowing backyard. Or they might say, well, geez, God, that top one's I can't do 200 grand, but I can't even do the 40 grand or the 50 grand on the bottom end you were talking about. Okay. And that's actually a good thing, you guys, when they tell you, oh, I can't do that. That's still too much money. Then my next question is simply, hey, I get that. So what do you think our next move is here? What do you think we should do next? See, you are taking control by giving them control. They will always guide you where to go in the sales process. Another way of asking budget might be simply, hey, Bob, we've been talking about your backyard. Am I designing you a $100,000 project or a $60,000 project? Which makes the most sense? All right. When paired with the motive, guys, this will help you prevent wasting your time with the wrong people. It will give them a reality check, because right now, who's the reality check? Type it in the box right now. Who's the reality check? Where do they get their pricing from? Where does the average consumer learn what things cost? What do you guys think? Google searches, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, what's that one? HomeWise, HGTV. Hey, we remodeled this whole house in 46 minutes and it only cost us $138. Right? So guys, this is also, yeah, Lowe's, all that stuff. Guys, this is why next week we're going to be talking about content marketing, because your content on your website should talk about money. And it should be kind of the first pre-qualifier if somebody even picks up the phone, calls you, or fills out a form in your website, like we touched on a little bit last week. All right? But guys, most of us have a lot of head trash around money. Okay? Most of us have baggage from our past about our value and about our worth. And we fear walking into the money punch when we talk to prospects. Okay? I felt it. You felt it. It's one of the biggest things that we deal with is our mindset around money. And our job as a salesperson is to respect not just our time, but their time as well. Okay? And it's funny, you know, think about those 10 weeks a year or so that we're running around in this process, and the majority of people are not a good fit for our business. Okay? We believe in our world that if you're a specialty contractor, you better be pricing your work and producing your work at least a 50% gross profit. We got hundreds of guys that are doing it like clockwork. All right? Because we're in the business of adding amazing value to people, and you can't add amazing value if you're too cheap. Okay? So talk about the money. Talk about a couple word tracks there. Then we move into step 3, which we call the truth. All right? Because here's what happens. People don't want to be embarrassed, especially guys. Type in the box if you ever had a guy go, I make the decisions around here, right? Yeah, I don't need anyone's permission. That's actually our next step, is the influencers, who else we need to be talking with, right? But guys are notorious for fucking puffing our chests out, all right, and making it known that we're in charge, and we don't want to be embarrassed. We don't ever want to admit that we can't afford something. Anyone relate to that? Chat box is pretty quiet. Nobody can relate to that who's a guy? I can relate to that. If there's something I know I can't afford, I don't want to admit it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to be on the phone. I'm going to go, yeah, you know, 10, 12 grand at the bottom end or whatever after we bracket. And he goes, yeah, you know, 10 grand sounds good, man. That sounds really good. What do we do when that happens? We get all excited. Oh, yeah, I feel really good about this one. Okay, well, step 3, we call the truth, because we're calling you to task here. We're calling you onto the carpet, and we're going to basically take where you're at now, and we're going to put you in a future state. Okay? So, Bob, you said you're good with 10, 12 grand. Let's pretend you invite me out to kind of take the next step here. What would happen if I got in your living room or I got in your backyard and I told you it was 10 to 12 grand? What if I told you it was, I don't know, 10,500 bucks? What if I told you if it was 12,000 bucks? What would happen next? Often, people will say, well, we'll have to get a few other bids and compare apples to apples and things like this. And guys, there's so much I want to give you today, and we don't have the time. All right, this is why you got to practice. You just got to be around a community that's going to help you do this, okay? Oftentimes, I'll just say, you know what, I think that's a great idea. In fact, before you invite me out, why don't you call a couple other people and have some conversations with them and just see where things are at? Because here, let me go back to here. Not going to get into this today. I don't have time, and it's not the most important thing. But here I'm going to bring up the BS meter. I'm going to say, why don't you go out and get a couple other bids? I'd love to do the project for you. I just want to make sure we're a good fit. You know, but the last thing I want to do, Bob, is have you invite me out to your house for me to tell you it's 10 grand just when you're going to turn around and go get some other bids and compare, because we have this crazy, stupid consultation fee. It's 500 bucks. It's 150 bucks, whatever you charge. Our members charge 300 to 500 bucks depending on their trade. We got some guys that charge 1,000 bucks. And this is, I'm not talking about drawing up plans and designs and getting paid for that, because that's separate. Okay, I'm talking just to come out there and have the same conversation we're having now. See, right now I'm giving you the free estimate. You want me to come out there and you want to download all my expertise and all my wisdom of how I'm going to approach the project and all the years of experience that I've paid for dearly, and you want me to just come out there and download it to you for free so you could take it, ghost me, and use it later on with another contractor? I'm not playing that game. Now, I'm not saying it that way, Okay, but that's the heart behind this here. So guys, this is the truth. Let's pretend, okay, blah, blah, blah. What would happen? And it's okay. Because often what will happen is because of the way you've set the tone with gratitude and the spirit of the conversation and the motive and this and that, you will often have people call you back and go, hey, I'm still waiting on hearing from those other guys. Or I didn't like anyone I was talking with. I feel like you really get me. Okay. And this whole sales process that we're talking about here, guys, is truly built on connecting with another human being. It's as simple as that. This is how do we connect with empathy, with mirroring, okay? And just bringing things out into the light and having an open, honest conversation with people. It's refreshing to them. All right, let me take a sip of my coffee. All right, so step 3 also protects us. Right back here, let me go back to this card for you. We're also going to set the expectation that we're going to be honest with each other. All right, and we'll agree to move forward or not move forward. This eliminates your follow-up list, guys. Okay, you got 20 follow-up calls to make on people that you can't get a hold of and all this other bullshit. It's because you didn't do step 3. Okay, so another part of step 3 sounds like this. Hey, Bob, I'm going to come out there. I'm going to tell you it's 10 grand. What's going to happen next? Oh, yeah, we'd be good to go. We'd move ahead with the project. All right, hey, Bob, I was wondering, can I be candid with you here for a second? Yeah, what's up? On rare occasion, I get out there, I put eyes on a project. You know, I start poking around, I touch the wood and I measure some things or whatever. I see some site conditions, access issues, whatever it is. Sometimes it's a game changer and it's going to prevent me from doing the job for the 10,000 or so that we're talking here. And I just want to let you know that if I run in anything that's a game changer like that, I'm just going to call a timeout. I'm not going to play any games with it. I'm just going to tell you I can't do it for that price. Are you cool if I'm honest with you like that? What's he going to say? Of course. Okay. Hey, Bob, on the flip side too, if at any step during this whole process, you don't feel like we're your guy, will you just agree to call a timeout and just let me know? Because otherwise, I think there's still hope for me and my company. And then I'm going to be calling you and emailing you and doing the whole sales guy follow-up thing. And that's no fun for anybody. And I just want us to have an honest conversation. If we're a good fit, let's move ahead. And if we're not, it's totally cool. Can we agree on that? Now I'm flying through this, guys, here, so the spirit might be a little off, but hopefully you get what I'm saying here. You're basically saying that I'm in control of this sales process. You're also protecting yourself, because this is what a lot of contractors feel. They're like, well, Tom, if I give a price over the phone for 10 or 12 grand and I get out there and I see something, okay, what if I can't do it for that? And that's exactly one of the reasons we do step 3 is it gives you permission to call a timeout because of something you didn't see on the photos or whatever it is. Okay, guys, does that make sense? Because if you just go out there, you told them 10 to 12 grand, you go out there, you see a site condition that's totally jacked up or you don't have access and it's going to cost a few thousand more and you go, all right, hey, Bob, it's going to be 18.5 now. Now you're just the typical bait and switch sales guy. Okay, you're no different than any other sales guy, used car salesman in the world. They just wanted to get in the door and now they're going to bait and switch you. But if you do step 3, you basically say, hey, Bob, remember on the phone when I told you I was going to call a timeout and be honest with you? And chuckle a little. He goes, yeah, well, you better sit down. Why? Hey, you see this and this and this? Yeah, that's the game changer that I was talking about. Okay, and I'm not going to be able to do it for the 10 grand. It's gonna add another $2,500 or so to the project. And I just wanted to, I don't know, what do you think we should do? And that question, what do you think we should do? What do you think our next move is? What do you think we should do next? It creates a partnership with the customer and a connection. And now you're not just some bullshit sales guy. So guys, every one of these things is important. All right. So we talked about the truth. Now we'll talk about influencers. Anyone ever had this look at the table when you're selling to somebody in a home? All right. Got a quiet chat box. So let me know you guys are still alive. Okay. Let me know if you're still alive. All right, good. This reminds me of a guy named Gary. It's not Gary. Guys, Gary and myself and Gary's now ex-wife, she actually left Gary, who was about 50 at the time, for like a 28-year-old dude. Okay. And it's no wonder, because Gary was a dick. All right. His name should have been Richard. And Gary, every time his wife opened her mouth and said anything that she wanted to do, Gary was a total jerk and literally in front of me said, "Shut your damn mouth. I'll do the talking here." Okay. Gary was an idiot. He was a jerk. Okay. That's one extreme. The other extreme is this. Tom, that 10 grand sounds great. Tom, this sounds good. That sounds good. Blah, blah, blah. And then what happens? You go out there. Hey, what's going to happen? Hey, you come out here. It's 10 grand. It's going to work out great. We're going to go for it. You're all excited. And then you get out there and then they drop the bomb on you. I got to talk to my fill in the blank, business partner, life partner, spouse, girlfriend, mother-in-law, boss. Oh, I'm not the owner of the property. All right. In fact, that's one of the questions I ask very early on in the process with people. In that small talk rapport building stage, I'll say, hey, Bob, how long have you owned the house? Not how long have you lived in the house? Okay. How long have you owned the house? Okay. Oh, I don't own the house. All right. Well, I ain't coming out there. I'll tell you that right now. All right. So anyway, guys, you want to prevent this look here where two people are not on the same page. Okay. That is a waste of your time, because if they just got to turn around and ask their spouse or their significant other or their business partner, all right, and you've gone out there, you have wasted everybody's time, and now it delays the whole thing. So again, simple question. Hey, is there anyone else? And I actually asked this earlier in the conversation. So when you get good at this, you get comfortable with the processes and where you're going. And honestly, when you're a really good listener, you learn to find places to insert some of these steps. And so you end up going out of order from time to time. But I might say, yeah, we're looking to do this backyard thing, blah, blah, blah. We're up in the motive. Okay. They're in the motive. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go, oh man, that sounds exciting. Is there anyone else who's fired up about building this backyard getaway? Hey, is there anybody else that's excited to, maybe I slide it in when we're talking budget, right? And I say, yeah, it's gonna be 10 to 12 grand. Hey, is there anyone else who's excited about dropping 15 grand on this thing, or 50 grand or 100 grand on this project? Okay. Don't say, what does your wife think? What does your husband think? Because you don't know what people's living situation is and what their orientation is and all that other stuff. So I just keep it general, hey, is there anyone else that we should be talking to about this? You've mentioned, if I'm in the motive and you've mentioned to me that it's really important, that you have, I don't know, let's just make something up. You have a deck, and you don't have rails here because you want it to be more open and you want to be able to see this part of the yard and you want a fire pit over here, whatever it might be. I will often say, hey, is there anyone else that we should get some ideas from, or what's important to them before we get too crazy here? See, I'm probing. All right. Because I'm trying to make sure that all the influencers are on the same page. In fact, one of my business partners sold a $50,000 water feature, but it took him 3 months to do it. Okay. And some of you are going, oh my God, it took 3 months to sell a $40,000 project. Yeah, but Steve never left his house, never went to meet with them. She sent a couple pictures. He had a couple conversations with her. And every time on the first phone call, he basically asked a question about the other influencers. She's like, well, my husband travels a lot and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I tell you what, why don't you just talk to your husband about it? Make sure that he's on the same page, blah, blah, blah. And it was a great conversation. Long story short, he traveled a lot. He was out of the country. He was this. And it would never make sense to go out there. And Steve was not going to go out and waste his time on a unicorn doing the tap dance, because he lives in the Baltimore area and he didn't want to be driving around in traffic and sitting there and all this other garbage. All right. Just to hear later on, oh, that my husband doesn't want to spend that much money. Okay. So guys, this is a huge, huge thing. You got to make sure everybody's on the same page. All right. Not going to get big into this, but the BS meter is the consultation fee. And we really, I don't like to dream about getting paid. Neither do you. Okay. Writing proposals and estimates do not change your life. Okay. In fact, collecting a consultation fee doesn't change your life. And that's why I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, because most contractors, when they hear charging for consultations, charging for estimates, whatever it is, that's the thing that they get hung up on, when that is actually the least important and easiest step of this whole thing, if everything else was set up right from the get-go. Okay. So guys, here's the deal. If you do charge a consult fee, you know, like a lot of our people doing what we teach, we just refund it back into the job. So we're really not charging. If you write me a deposit check and if I come out there, you know, you write me one of two checks. It's a deposit check or it's a consultation fee. All right. Well, nobody else charges consultation fees, Tom. And guys, this is where empathy and agreement comes in. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I can't believe they don't do that. All right. I'll give you one other quick story. Another one of my partners, Derek, his go-to is let's go off the record. Tom, Derek, nobody else charges consultation fees. Derek will agree. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I don't get it. You know, Derek, you got to come out here. Can you waive the fee? And this is where Derek will use a technique called going off the record. Okay. Hey, Zach, would it be okay if we went off the record right now? Yeah, Tom, what's up? See, guys, we go off the record. Now you're on the inside. Now it's me and you, man. And I'm going to say something like this. I'm going to say, Zach, I get it. I get asked all the time if I could waive my consultation fee, and I've been doing this a long time. And you know, the crazy thing is 100% of the time that I waive my consultation fee, I never get the job. So what would you do if you were me? And guys, what's funny is people that are your right client, that are really serious, that are not giving you a line of BS, 100% of the time they laugh and they go, you know what, that makes good sense. I wouldn't waive it either. Come on out. But guys, none of that happens. It's not a script. It's a spirit. It is a spirit that's developed through practice. So as we get out of here, I want to talk about mistakes and some mindsets here before we wrap up. All right. One of the biggest mistakes that we can make as a salesperson is making assumptions, okay? We assume that price is important. We assume that timing is important. We assume all these other things. And if we're not careful to slow the process down, really ask the right questions and shut our mouths and really hear, don't pounce, okay? You're going to be less likely to make wrong assumptions, okay? Talked about this a lot. One of the biggest mistakes ever in sales is running your mouth. Please shut your mouth. Okay, lack of patience. Notice the theme here, guys. It's slow down, shut your mouth, be patient, let the game come to you, be a good listener. Okay, being a wuss is a big mistake in sales, because some of you right now that are listening to this, if I'm just playing the odds of the thousands of people that we put this in front of every year, okay, and this mindset, you're too afraid to do this. You're too afraid to get uncomfortable. You're too afraid because you feel you're going to lose the sale, that you're not going to win it over because you're so good in person and you're charming and you're good looking and you're charismatic. Right? Guys, a lot of people are all those things and still waste a lot of time in the sales process. The other cool thing that I didn't even touch on this is, guys, when you have a process like this, we see two things here. We see at least 40% of your time is saved in the estimating process, and we see your average job size go up by a minimum of about 15% because of the way that you bracket and the way that you set this thing up. So job sizes go up, time spent goes down, you end up making more money. It's a win to me, okay? Don't be a wuss. Don't chase unicorns, all right? They don't exist. And like I shared before, sales is a skill you need to practice, all right? Our group this week did, I don't know, damn near 700 role plays between them, okay? The average, you know, we have a belt system like martial arts. You get your green belt, your blue belt, and this, that, based on number of role plays. Like clockwork, the people that role play more and get higher belts, they make more money. It's that simple, all right? Go to the driving range. Shoot, my son is, you know, I'm a Marine. My son's in Marine Corps boot camp right now, all right? He's in swim qual right now. Another week or two, couple weeks, he's going to the rifle range. Okay, it'd be ridiculous to call yourself a Marine and not go to the rifle range regularly. It'd be ridiculous to call yourself an NBA basketball player and not shoot 1,000 free throws a day like Larry Bird did back in the day. Okay, either you're a professional or you're not. Professionals practice. It's that simple. Best athletes in the world, they practice every day. They work out every day. They work on their game. A couple other thoughts here. Number one, guys, people will pay what you're strong enough to ask for. Okay. We often sell in the manner of which we buy, don't we? If you think if $500 is expensive for something, you're going to have a really hard time charging somebody $500 for something. Okay. So you have to condition your mindset here. Okay. You don't need or want all of the jobs, all of the leads. You don't want all the customers. You want the right ones. You want the ones that are going to respect you. Don't make their crap your crap. This is huge. This is one of my biggest struggles through the years is I brought it upon me to find the customer's money. That's why we negotiate against ourselves at 11:30 at night and sharpen our own pencil before we even send the quote, before we even have a conversation about money. It's ridiculous. Okay. We take on this responsibility. Guys, everyone's got a magic money tree for the shit that's important to them. Okay. We all have a habit of producing money that quote unquote we don't have when we feel something is of value to us. So our job is not to find their money. Our job is to let them find their money and see if we're a good fit. It's that simple. All right. Saving 40% time if you just use the telephone. Don't project your beliefs about money. We've talked about that a little. Guys, this process is a differentiator. It is the red umbrella in that sea of black contractor umbrellas that are out there. This alone sets you apart. This alone, okay, when you commit to this process, will give you confidence that you are not wasting your time, that you're spending your time with the right prospects. All right, now there's a mutual respect. You're taking control of the sales process. If you don't take control of the sales process, whose process are you on? Now, some of you are typing or thinking right now, the customers. Well, check this out. How many leads do you get a year? How many leads do you get a month? Okay, is it 50, 100, 500, whatever? If you don't have a process, you're on 500 other processes, 50 other processes, and you never gain confidence from that. You never get in the groove. You never have a way to look back and go, okay, like an athlete looking at game tape the day after the game. Hey, where did we mess up? Where did we do good? What step did I blow it in? That's the other beautiful thing about this is, you know, it's so funny. People that practice these processes and things like that and role play, and then you go do it for real, and then you come back and you got an accountability partner or your sales manager, whoever's in your company that you're reporting to, you can go, you know what, this Reber project, I blew it here because I didn't do step 3. I ended up getting out there and there was a game changer and I had to tell him it was more money. And because I didn't do that, you know, he got all pissed at me and thinks I'm baiting and switching or whatever it is, but you'll be able to identify it. Okay. So guys, super appreciate you hanging out with us here today. I want to thank Harvey again. And they want to help you. Okay. But they can't read your mind, right? So I'm asking you if there's something that you feel Harvey can help you with, all right, to make your business better, to take some pressure off you, to help you succeed more, go to that domain there, all right, or reach out to your Harvey peep that you have the best relationship with and let them know what's going on, because I've spent a good amount of time with these people over the last couple of years, and they really care about their customers, and they want to help, but they can't, like I said, they can't read your minds. So open up and have those conversations with them. I mentioned earlier, if you wanted this word track document that we got, just head to thecontractorfight.com/virtual and you get it for free there. There's like at least 12 word tracks that, you know, people use. There's thousands of word tracks, right? But a word track is like, hey, what do I say in this situation? What do I do here? How do I get to the motive a little better? And so we give you some free resources there to help you take advantage of. So guys, I super appreciate you hanging out with me here today. I will be back next Tuesday. We're going to dig into content marketing, what it is, how to do it, how to figure out the topics, how to add value. Guys, content marketing, I believe, is one of the best ways that you can set yourself up for success in the sales process that we just talked about. Okay. So make sure you guys jump into that. And as always, Harvey, thank you guys so much for having me. And reach out, guys, if there's anything we could do to help you as well. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.